Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and let's get you started with some, let's get sober with where this country's economy is, the world's economy. Watch this, if I can get it to play.
Uncertain economic conditions that you talked about, heavy debt loads, and that's contributed to the highest level of bankruptcies in 13 years. In the first half of this year, 340 U.S. firms filed for bankruptcy, with the majority in consumer discretionary, healthcare, and industrials. Serta Simmons, Silicon Valley Bank, Bed Bath & Beyond, some familiar names on your screen that you recognize. Those are the names topping the list with liabilities of over $1 billion that have filed for bankruptcy this year. And yet, the higher interest rates haven't stopped firms from piling on more debt. According to the Federal Reserve, corporate debt topped $12.7 trillion in Q1 of this year, up almost 30% since Q1 2019. All while many are finding it more difficult to repay that debt. The median interest coverage ratio fell year over year in Q1. And so this ratio is important because it shows how easily a company can pay interest on its outstanding debt, and it helps evaluate a company's financial conditions. You're seeing, all you got to see on your screen is that the slope is going downwards as of mid last year. And the current tighter capital controls, which could get worse for banks after the SVB collapse, doesn't bode well for any firms looking to refinance.
And some of these companies are going to need refinancing.
Okay, so you can see what the interest rates are doing to the banks and the economy in general. That's to be expected, and we're on a conveyor belt to something that's not good. Here's a this is Starwood Capital CEO Barry Sternlight. Listen to what he says about real estate.
Right now, many people think the real estate market's going to be in trouble because high interest rates are making it more and more difficult for people to service their loans, and we're going to have a lot of defaults soon. What do you think about that observation?
Anything with a fixed income stream is worth less when rates rise. And it's an interesting situation because the rise in rates, usually real estate's the culprit. We often cause calamities in the economy. Banks get overzealous, lend 100% of cost. In this case, we really were an accidental consequence of the Fed's actions. We didn't really cause this problem. Banks hadn't over-levered, the loans weren't over-levered, they hadn't stretched loan to values. And the underlying fundamentals in most of the asset classes in real estate are okay right now in the United States. The apartment market, the industrial logistics market, the hotel markets, those are all in good shape. But there's no question that the Fed has reacted dramatically to try to slow the economy down quite late, obviously. And that has impacted real estate values. Yields on properties are moving up to reflect this higher interest rate. And the supply of credit to the industry is curtailed dramatically. So I like to say it's a hurricane over real estate right now. We're in the Category 5 hurricane, and it's sort of a black cloud hovering over the entire industry until we get some relief or some understanding of what the Fed's going to do.
Well, it's unsustainable is what it is. Then we've got this. In the midst of what looks like a disaster coming, we've got also in the midst of Congress right now is bringing forth all sorts of evidence, bank records, you name it, showing that the president of the freaking United States has been being bribed and paid by China, Ukraine, and about 2 or 3 other countries through his son. Okay? And now, what would the perfect distraction be? Biden administration is hunting for malicious computer code it believes China has hidden deep inside of the networks controlling power grids, communication systems, and water supplies that feed American military bases, according to U.S. officials. So my question is this, folks. If they've got proof that we have a president who has been being bribed for years by China and other countries, then how can we believe said president when he starts trying to tell us that there's malicious Chinese computer viruses? How can we believe anything he says, actually? What in the world? And why is nobody using the word that everybody should be using and call it what it's called? Then here you got, this is Now, you see some of these congressmen like Warren Davidson wanting to ban CBDCs. This is what Warren Davidson does not want to happen in this country. This is China. China has CBDC. It's linked to digital ID. If you're caught speeding, a fine instantly deducted from your digital wallet by a surveillance system. And this is a video of it. That's about as creepy gets right there. Then we've got a good video Wheezy found. This is former SEC Commissioner, CEO of Potomac Global Partners, Paul Atkins, weighing in on the Ripple case decision.
Congratulations, Judge Torres. I think, I don't know her, but, she really put her finger on, a really important aspect of this. Are we looking at, transactions, or are we looking at the asset? And I think if you look at the Howey case, and then you look at, what is an investment contract, which is, the Supreme Court took a stab at it back in whenever it was 1946 to figure out, okay, what does that actually mean? So they came up with a test that, has the term in their expectation, and so expectation of profit. And so, she parsed it out and applied it to the facts at hand, and we'll see whether or not that stands scrutiny, because this will be inevitably appealed, I'm sure. And, I'm sure both sides think that they'll ultimately prevail. I do think that these sorts of questions, whether it be in Ripple or something else, will go up to the Supreme Court. And since this is all judge-made rules and by the Supreme Court itself, I think they're the appropriate ones, in the first instance here, since it's coming up to them, to try to clean up this mess. And then obviously Congress is there, but they're kind of dysfunctional. And so I don't really see anything immediately on the horizon. Maybe this will spur them as other judges try to, deal with applying, these sorts of this sort of test to other cases. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. But I do think that I think the Ripple folks here have a very strong case to put.
I'm not sure what he means by both sides will appeal. I guess he means SEC will appeal this time, and I'm assuming he thinks that there's other issues that Ripple will appeal from the case. I guess there were a couple of things. Successfully, this is over from Palau. Successfully processed PSC redemptions. Ripple CBDC platform has proven super secure and intuitive, and most importantly, administrative friendly. I don't need to be a rocket scientist to use it. This kind of hits home when you see this. He's literally got a Ledger Nano S out, and they're testing a central bank digital currency. That's pretty wild on a MacBook Pro, no less. And then you look over here. This is the design of their digital CBDC stablecoin. Now, this guy I have not seen in a long time, but he is known as the modern investor. I don't know if he disappeared for a while or what, or maybe he's been doing his thing and I just haven't seen it pop up. But he kind of disappeared off my radar. I used to watch him, and he says, you won't be able to afford this cryptocurrency soon. This is huge. And listen to, I'll play a little bit of what he says.
Ledger as well, which would also then lead to more burning of XRP. You're kind of getting where all of this is leading. There's a woman, her name is Shannon Thorpe. That is Shannon and Thorp, a treasury management expert from a global bank, has said that she is looking through the numbers and has actually found out that at some point XRP, the coin, will become so popular and so highly used that it will actually outpace the amount of, it'll become too expensive. I don't know. I don't know how to, like, a nice way to really put her words into that sentence. She basically believes that the XRP token is so cheap right now because people aren't paying attention to what's happening behind the scenes in the institutions who are actively looking at it. She thinks the more institutions who are looking at it and the more XRP that's being bought, for those of you who also missed it, we continue to get a lot of news from the company Ripple that they're selling XRP every time that the escrow opens up. And it's not that they're selling XRP and throwing it onto the... That was my camera. It always does that. And that they were throwing...
Okay. Anyway, he's saying that she believes XRP will become too expensive. That's a theory that I've seen a lot of over the years in the XRP community, and I'm one of the people that tends to believe that it will be. I think that when this thing finally takes off, most people are going to be out by $2 to $10, and after that, those of us that have been studying this and living and breathing it for a long time and really believe what it really is and who's really going to be using it will make this thing out of reach for your average Joe, at least to have too many of it. Breaking: Uber CEO says users will soon be able to pay using crypto. This reminds me, there was a video going around. I couldn't find it. I was looking for it. There's a video of Ashish Burla, who works for Ripple, at one time saying that Ripple had been meeting with Uber and Airbnb, I believe, and somebody else. But anyway, they had been meeting with them, and I'm not saying that means they're going to use them, but and Amazon too, I believe, was one of them. We shall see. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Airbnb, Uber, Amazon. I believe, if you can find it, there's an Ashish Burla video out there, Ashish Burla from Ripple, where he says they had met with those guys. Thanks for listening.